This is how to use my building creator. First click create a new building, then draw the building. A lot of people do not know what scale to draw the building to. So this is an example. So I'm clicking menu, then quick to main menu. Now create a new building using a template. Now this is simple building. Look how small simple building is. So many people just draw a building really big and it doesn't look right because the scale on this is 1 pixel as a foot, so therefore buildings would be about this size. That's how big simple building is. And going to another template building, this is Old Otis Mansion. See, that's also quite small. Now going out, now create a new building, now draw the building. So that's part of the building. Then when you draw a building, when you get so close to another part of the building, it jumps to the building, which is really useful, and it took me a really long time to program this. If you don't want it to jump, you can turn the jumper off in the menu. Now if you want to change what texture, you click choose paint. Then you can change your texture by changing the wall texture and changing the floor texture. Like that. Now I'm going to carry on drawing. This time it's going to be using a different texture now. Like that. Then if I was to use the wrong texture by mistake, you can press choose paint, change your texture again, then click paint. And so you've got paint. Wall is for painting walls only, floor is for painting floors only, or just click paint itself to paint both. Then click what you want to paint. It changes what texture it is. Now that's floor 0. Now on to floor 1. Now I'm going to make floor 1 identical to floor 0 by clicking import. Then click import, then what floor do you want to import? Floor 0, and there it is. Now floor 2, then click import, then click OK, that's floor 2. But best buildings are not just repetitive on every floor, but best buildings, each floor is different. So I'm going to, as most buildings get smaller as they go up, I'm going to delete a few parts of that building. Now on to floor, actually first I'm going to add a nice atrium. Now on to floor 3. Import that from floor 2. There it is. Now on to floor 4. Import that from floor 3, and that's it. This is the top floor, and that's going to be really small, and I'm going to do it different textures. So choose paint, change which texture it is, then click paint, then click, and there it is. And now going back to floor 0. Now I'm going to do some corridors in the building. Now this is something that might not sound right, but I know I'm correct. The corridors should be really narrow. If you see a narrow corridor next to a large corridor, you'll see it's narrow. But if all the corridors are narrow, you won't actually notice. And the overall effect of a building will be better than buildings with large corridors. I've experimented with this and I'm right. Buildings with smaller corridors, when you're in the building, you don't notice the corridors are small, and it gives a better overall effect. So I'm now drawing the corridors. Now I'm going to add some doors. So click the door button there. Then you can add doors. Now add the main entrance to a building, which is here. That's the main entrance to the building added. If you get it wrong, you don't have to clear everything. Clicking clear clears everything, but clicking the W underneath just clears the walls, and clicking the D just clears the doors. So that way if you do the walls or the doors wrong, you don't have to clear everything in the level and try again. So now going on to floor 1, this time I'm going to do the walls differently so it's different on each floor so the building looks better. This time I'm going to do it so I'm separating the building into rooms just so it's different to what was on the ground floor, so it gives a better overall effect when the building's finished. Adding some doors. Now on to floor 2. Add some more corridors. I'm going to change the texture of the corridor, so where it says internal walls and choose paint, you click that and it changes the texture. Then this floor 2 is going to have different walls again and some doors. Now floor 3 and floor 4. So at the bottom here you've got A is for drawing an atrium, build is where you draw the building, delete you click at, then click part of the building, well, one of the building's boxes, and it will delete it. W creates walls, D creates doors. Paint's part of the building if you did it with the wrong texture. And you've got paint wall only, paint floor only. Then you've got choose paint, which you set which texture you want to paint. Then this is just the colour coding for a texture setting, not the texture itself. To set the texture itself, click choose custom textures, and here are all of the textures. The best buildings are the ones that have almost all of these textures are changed from the default values. So if you change most of these textures from the default values, the buildings will look better. I'm not going to do that because I'm just showing how it works. Then you've got clear and clear walls only, clears door only. Imports the floor. Then ceiling height chooses the ceiling height. So this is the floor 0 and it's going to have a high ceiling because it's a ground floor of 15 foot, defaultly 10 foot. So now I'm going to do some lifts. So here's a list of lifts. I'm going to have Otis 2000 VF. Lowest floor is 0. Highest floor is going to be 4, so it's going to all floors. And now how wide? It's going to be quite a narrow lift. Have it 8 wide. How much wide the other way? 8. Now I can't have more than one lift in it because it won't know which way to place the different lifts in the shaft because it's a square lift shaft. Now I choose where to put it. Now I'm going to put it, I can't see where the atrium is because I'm on the wrong floor, so I think it's about there. But now I'm going to go and see my lift. There it is, appearing on all the different floors. Now on floor 4 you can see the atrium. So now I'll see exactly where to place it. So I go back to a lift and click edit lift. So you click and drag edit lift. I know it's a bit confusing because I did this bit wrong. So you click and drag edit lift, then move it to where you want to put lift, and click to go off it. So now this is what a lift is. The door is on the south side, which as you can see would be completely wrong. The door has to be on the east side. So on the west side is glass wall, then the wall on the north, that should be wall and buttons, south, then on the east side is the door. There it is. Now lift 2. Now this time I'm going to do old Otis. Lowest floor 0, highest floor 2. How wide it, and let's do it as default, and I'm going to have 2 lifts in the shaft to show how this bit works. Choose where the lift is going to go. I don't know, put it there. Okay, now I can't create doors on the west and east walls because there's 2 lifts in the shaft. Right, if you had doors on the west and east walls, where your 2 lifts are placed, you can't because the doors would open into the lift shaft. So I'm going to have a door in the north and the south. Door north, door south. Now custom floors. Now several people got confused with custom floors. What you do is you type in for each floor which doors open. So you type for all of the doors to open, or type NSWE for each set of doors. But you can't type a set of doors which you have not created. I've only created doors in the north and the south. So therefore, if I created east, if I typed in east, it wouldn't work because I haven't created a door in the east. And also I couldn't anyway because it says do not create doors in the east. So on floor 0, doors are going to open in the north. On floor 1, I don't want the doors to open at all, so I'm going to click cancel, so the lift doesn't even stop on the first floor now. On the second floor I'm going to click south, so the doors open on the south on the second floor. So floor north, floor 1, not stopping, floor 2 south. And there it is, and then you can see this lift. There, that's the lift I've just created. Now I'm going to create my building because that's everything. Choose start point, so we're going to start right side here. Here it is, take the code, copy it. Now I've got a default building set up where I can overwrite it nice and easily. Now I'm going to now go into, okay, this is what the building looks like. Then I know the texture's a bit odd, that's because I didn't change any of the textures. Here it is, here's the corridors I've created. See high ceiling on this floor. Now the texture's a bit odd, that's because I used the default ones along here. Here's a glass lift, and if you see these lifts here, they only open this side, not the other side, and these lifts are the ones that don't stop at the first floor. Going back to the glass lift, and then you can see the atrium when it gets there. And here it is. Okay, now this is the rest of the features on my building creator. Got create new building, which I've just done. Create a new building using a template, which I've shown already. Edit a building created by its creator. So if you go off and come back to your creator another day, you can carry on editing a building you've created. Then new edit any building. This is a new feature where you can edit a building that was not created with the building creator, but it doesn't work as well. And here it is. This is the Triton Centre. It looks quite complicated. Now, before you can edit wall, copy wall, edit floor, you can't do it yet. You've got to filter what section of the building you're editing. So do it. You click filter. Now this gets quite complicated. Which floor do I want to edit first? So all the other floors I can't see, otherwise it'll be too complicated to edit. So I'm typing in 0 to edit the ground floor. Now this bit is complicated. On Skyscraper Sim, some stuff says on a certain floor, like floor 0. Other items on floors, so it could be floors 0 to 1. Now on the items that are on floors, if you were to edit a wall on the ground floor, if that wall was to also apply to the first floor, you'll be editing a wall on the first floor as well. So do you want to filter out these walls as well or not? So I'm going to click OK, which means everything will be displayed on the floor. So do I want to show walls? Yes. Do I want to show floors? Yes. So that is the ground floor with everything displayed, including the walls. If I was to edit these walls, I'd also edit it on the other floors, because it includes the floors section as well as the floor section. And that is ground floor. Now I'm going to filter again. So as I'm doing ground floor, this time I'm only doing the walls and floors as actually on the ground floor, not the ones that are also on the other floors as well. So now look, see, some of the walls disappeared. That's because those ones appear on the ground floor and other floors. What's left is the walls that just appear on the ground floor. Now you can see, if I click edit wall, you can move any of these walls like that. It's very easy to make a building that looks very weird. So you've got to be really careful while doing this. You need to move the mouse accurate to within 3 pixels to get the walls to line up properly. So there, let's put the wall back where it was. You've got to be really accurate when doing this, because it's very easy to get obscure looking buildings. So now I'm going to click copy wall. So whichever wall I now drag, so when you click and drag, you're dragging the ends of the wall, not the middle of the wall. Now on copy wall, you do exactly the same thing as edit wall, but rather than moving a wall, it creates a new wall in its place. So if I click and drag, there you go, I've created a new wall. I've not moved that wall across. Instead I've created a new wall. Then it changes back to edit wall as soon as I start dragging. So I've now, I didn't want to edit that one. Now move that one back. So rather than editing, moving that wall, I've copied it so this wall is identical in formatting to that wall. You can't actually edit the formatting of the wall. When you copy walls or edit walls, you're using the original format of the building you're editing. It doesn't actually change the format the walls are in. So now, when you start the Triton Centre, you start here. So I'm going to create a big wall blocking for where you go, so you can't just get into the service lifts. Just an example of what it can do. So I'm now going to put this wall here, blocking the way. Right here. Now copy wall. Now see, I'm going to, now I've made another copy of it there. Copy wall. Another copy there. It's very important you get wall to line up exactly. If you don't do it exactly, the building will look very obscure, and it's very easy to get it wrong. There you go. Now create a big block in the way, so you can't just get from where you start to the service lifts. Also, the other bit is edit floor. This section is where you can click and drag to edit floors, like that. Now I'm going to also, if you're making a building, you can actually create loads of walls and floors but not enter in the coordinates properly. Then use this building creator section to actually position the walls, because at the moment this can just move walls. So if you know about how to do skyscrapers in buildings, this section of the building creator can position the walls if you do not know the exact coordinates. Anyway, create. Now let's see how the Triton Centre looks now I've edited it. Come on. And here it is. This is where you start and see there's a big wall blocking the way as I created. Now, using this part of the building creator is very easy to get it wrong. And it will take you lots of times. Don't expect just to edit a building. It works first times. It might take you several goes at editing an existing building to get it correct.